Hello and welcome to the arcade. You know, I think it's pretty cool that the Wii and Wii Sports have stuck around in not only pop culture, gaming culture, but also meme culture. The Wii is such an iconic system, even if many people only viewed it as a fad or a gimmick. There's a lot to love about the Wii, and I believe Wii Sports is one of the select titles that gave the Wii its staying power. On December 26th, 2006, I played Wii Sports for the first time. The day after Christmas was a day that my twin brother, myself, and our best friend would typically spend showing off all the cool things that we got for Christmas, and 2006 was a big year for us. Me and my brother had convinced our parents to use both of our Christmas and birthday money combined to get us a PS3, and Reed had gotten a Wii as a last-minute surprise gift. His parents did that thing, you know, where they say, "Wait, it looks like we missed one." You know the deal. Very cool parent thing to do. So the day after Christmas, Reed called us and asked us to come over, and we rode our bikes over to see what this Wii was all about. It's hard to describe the feeling that I had when I saw Reed and his family playing the Wii for the first time. I was so used to controllers that were connected to the console, sitting really close to the screen, and staying pretty much as still as possible, focusing on only button inputs and what was coming up on the screen next. But when I saw them all standing around the TV, swinging their arms, smiling and laughing and cheering for each point in tennis or strike in bowling, I knew the Nintendo revolution had finally come. This wasn't the typical gimmick like the PS2's iToy. This was something way more advanced. So after me and Austin watched for a bit, the rest of Reed's family left and let the three of us have some time in front of the TV. And we played bowling and Wii Sports for 3 hours straight before our mom called Reed's mom and told us to come home for dinner. While bowling isn't my favorite sport in real life or even in Wii Sports, that first experience playing the Wii and actually using my arm to bowl in a very lifelike simulation was something that I'll remember forever, and a moment that gave me a special connection to that particular sport in the game. Nowadays, when I boot up Wii Sports, I go for golf or tennis, but that first time bowling with my brother and my best friend was one of my favorite memories of gaming with them. So what makes Wii Sports so special? Is it just those memories of playing it for the first time with friends and family? Is it the fact that it brought so many of us together, turning parents who typically had no interest in video games into people that loved spending time playing Wii Sports with their kids? Or is it the fact that the game was such a joy to control, and all 5 of the sports truly felt like an accurate depiction of the real thing? Well, here's the answer. It's a little bit of all of that. You see, the Wii had this incredible ability to combine an intuitive control system, an approachable presentation, and an easy-to-understand design into a package that appealed to literally everyone. Hardcore gamers loved it because the motion controls were an incredible leap forward in the innovation of the gaming medium, and non-gamers loved it because they recognized the sports that were there, and because they could control it with their body like in real life, they didn't have to learn anything about video games to enjoy it at all. Wii Sports brought together 2 demographics that at the time were just growing further and further apart. It was like magic. The Wii launched in November of 2006, and Wii Sports was included as a pack-in title with the system. This was, in my opinion, Nintendo's most genius move since including Tetris as a pack-in with the original Game Boy. It ensured that they were not only appealing to kids who liked Nintendo, but to anyone who had even a slight interest in games or sports, or heck, even just new technology in general. You'll read and hear many people talk about how Wii Sports was essentially a tech demo meant to show off the motion control capabilities of the Wii and demonstrate what was possible with their new technology. Where they sacrificed graphics and resolution, they more than made up for in innovative controls and accessibility. And the accessibility was not just in the controls and games, but hardwired into the system itself in things like the Me channel, where anyone could create a simple but charming avatar of themselves in little to no time at all. The Miis were so successful that to this day, they are still included on the Nintendo Switch, probably to the dismay of Nintendo, who seemed like for a while they wanted to move past the Me era and onto new things. And after you create your Mii, you get to see them in the game. How cool is that? Your own customized and created character, completely separate from the game of Wii Sports, is the main character of the game. It's a simple detail, but genius because it ensures a real connection to the console, the character, and the game. So after creating a Mii, most people would immediately fire up Wii Sports and watch as the avatar they created of themselves got to star in the 5 sports that the game has to offer. First, there was tennis. In tennis, you swing the Wii remote to simulate swinging a tennis racket. You don't need to worry about moving around the court, that's all done automatically. All you have to do is learn how to serve, hit forehands and backhands, and volleys. All regular games of tennis in Wii Sports are played as doubles or with 4 players on the court. But if you're playing by yourself, both characters on your side swing their rackets at the same time, so there's nothing saying that you either do or don't have to use the front or the back character. And other than that, it's just tennis. And that's what makes this game so great. If you understand video games, you can pick this up pretty quick. And if you understand tennis, you pretty much already know how to play. Just swing the remote like you would a real racket, and that's all there is to it. It sounds so simple, but it just works so well. That's one thing you'll hear a lot of people, including myself, praise about Wii Sports. It just works. Simple as that. I'd say the most important thing in tennis is learning the power serve. You just need to swing so that you make contact with the ball during the serve at the apex of the serve toss, and you'll hit a much faster serve than normal. Other than that, it can be fun to play around with the different types of spin that you can put on the ball, which are all really well represented by the Wii's motion controls. There's also an option to play on a blue hard court instead of the green grass court. I'm not sure exactly, but I think all I did was hold down the 1 and 2 buttons after selecting OK on the character selection screen. You'll also get to see this court if you play the tennis training mini-games, which includes a return challenge, swing timing, and target practice. Playing tennis in Wii Sports is one of my favorite things to do in the game these days, but the ultimate way to play, in my opinion, is with friends or family. Playing doubles in Wii Sports Tennis is such a great time that gamers and non-gamers alike will always enjoy. The next sport available is baseball. Now, my brother and I played Little League Baseball from when we were 9 up until we graduated high school. So the baseball in Wii Sports was one I was very interested in. You start as the batting team, and you have to time your swing correctly to hit the ball into the field. Ground balls into the infield almost always result in an out, so most of the time you really just want to try your best to hit it as hard as possible, putting up at least a double and at best a home run. The timing isn't always guaranteed though, because there are a few different types of pitches that the pitcher can throw, along with variation in arm speed, resulting in a variation in pitch speed. So for those who play against each other for a long time, it can start to come down to mind games. Just like real baseball sometimes. The pitcher can throw a regular fastball at any number of varying speeds, but if you hold down the A button, the B button, or both at the same time, you can also throw a curveball, a screwball, and a splitter. The amount of freedom in pitching makes it the most fun part of baseball. And just like in tennis, all the movements around the field are automatic, so all you have to do is focus on swinging your bat and throwing your pitches. No fielding or base running is required. And then there's the big one, at least to my family, bowling. Bowling was the most popular game from Wii Sports, and it's pretty easy to see why. In bowling, you don't have to worry about what anyone else is doing. You all get to take turns, even with one shared Wii remote if necessary, aiming, lining up your shot, and throwing the ball down the lane. It feels so much like bowling in real life, aside from there being no weight to the ball. In bowling, first you line up your shot. You press the directional arrows to the left or the right to determine where your Mii stands. Then you can tap the A button to change the angle of your approach. Then when you're ready to throw, just hold the B button on the back of the controller, pull the controller down and back just like a real bowling ball. Then as you throw your arm forward, let go of the B button and watch your ball fly down the lane. You can also apply spin to your throws by turning your wrist either left or right as you throw. And that's all there is to it, and that's all there needs to be. The amount of depth added by being able to control the speed of your throw, the angle of your approach, and the spin of your ball makes this one of the most immersive games I have ever played to this day.
It's easy to get lost in this one for an hour or two just because of how real it starts to feel. And it just feels like you have so much control over what happens, even though there are realistic physics affecting things like how the pins bounce around after being hit. In Reed's family, my own family, and even just with a group of friends who are more hardcore gamers, playing bowling in Wii Sports is always fun and can even be really competitive at times for some of us. The next sport is golf. Now, golf is one that I didn't really get into until much later. I had never really liked golf in real life, so basically all of the other sports included in this game were way more appealing. But once I had finally exhausted all options in all the other sports, I figured I'd give golf a real try. And now I can say it's either tied for first or a close second favorite sport in the game. In golf, just like the other games, you swing your arms like you're holding a real golf club. I will say though, golf is a lot more complex than any of the other sports in here. And that might have been another reason why it took me a bit longer to get into it at first. Golf in general can be a really intimidating sport to try to get into, but here in Wii Sports at least, there's no risk of failure or embarrassment like you might have on a real golf course. So in Wii Sports Golf, you can play either a 3-hole beginner, intermediate, or expert challenge, or a 9-hole course that combines all three. You start off at the tee where you use your driver club to hit the ball as far down the fairway as possible while staying on the green grass in the middle. When you first start the game, you can swing practice shots freely. It won't show you where the ball will go, but it does show you how much power you're putting into each swing. And you can use the mini-map shown in the bottom right corner of the screen to guess where your ball will land. But you do have to take into account the wind angle and speed, and the angle of the terrain your ball lands on. Then when you're far enough down the fairway, you'll switch to your iron club, which is a club with less power than a driver, but also more control. You use this club to approach the green where the hole is. Get as close to the hole as you can with the iron, and then you'll use your putter to sink the ball into the cup. Putting is a little different than the other shots because you don't have to worry about the wind anymore, and it's all down to power and the angle of the ground. Missing a short putt is probably the most frustrating thing in this entire game, but dropping one in from 50 feet away is an absolutely fantastic feeling. You'll see a good amount of variety from the 9 holes on this course, but if you want to get in some practice without having to play through all of the holes, you can use the training mode and its 3 different mini games to practice your different golf swings as well as your accuracy and timing. And last on the list of available sports to play is boxing. This game to me feels like the outlier of the group. I do like the fact that we have at least one sport that requires the Wii Remote and the nunchuck for some added variety, but I also feel like boxing is the least accessible and the least cohesive addition to the game. In boxing, you use the Wii Remote and the nunchuck to represent your right and left hands. You hold your hands up to block your face and down to block your body. Then you throw punches, hooks, and jabs to try to knock your opponent out. It's definitely the most physically demanding sport in the bunch, with tennis as a close second. And while boxing can be a fun way to spend 30 minutes or so, I'd say it's the least appealing of all the sports in the game. But regardless of that, I am glad that, like I said, we have a game that includes the use of the nunchuck, just so we could at least see the capabilities of the first ever Wii Remote accessory. I believe that not only the Wii and the Mii characters, but specifically Wii Sports, was one of the greatest and smartest decisions that Nintendo ever made. The ability of this system and Wii Sports to appeal to such a wide audience was something that was basically unheard of at the time, and part of the reason why video games are no longer a niche hobby for nerds, but something that millions of people enjoy. Wii Sports has even been used as entertainment in nursing homes and as part of physical therapy treatments. How many other games can make that claim? I'd wager not many. And on top of being so appealing to such a large audience, Wii Sports also pushed forward a surge of innovation in motion controls in general. Shortly following the success of Wii Sports, Microsoft came up with their own competitor, the Kinect, and even Nintendo has kept around their motion controls in the Joy-Con of the Nintendo Switch, as well as the gyroscopic aiming of the Switch Pro controller. Gyro aiming is even something that top pros of competitive games like Fortnite and Splatoon use, and I believe that this can easily be traced back to Nintendo's innovation with Wii Sports. When I think about or play Wii Sports, I'll always remember that first time seeing it and playing it with my family and friends. And even now, Wii Sports is something that I've already shared with my own kids. I was just a kid myself when the game came out, but here we are years later, and my kids get to have the same experience that I did all that time ago. My favorite sports in the game to this day are still tennis, golf, and bowling, and while baseball and boxing are still fun, the amount of depth from tennis and golf specifically are what keeps me and many other players coming back to this game years later. And I still remember showing my parents and even my grandparents Wii Sports for the first time. It was so awesome to see my mom and dad playing right alongside all us kids, and those are some gaming memories I will treasure forever. And I probably couldn't even count the number of hours spent in sleepovers with Reed and Austin playing Wii Sports until we were too tired to stand.
I believe that Wii Sports is not just a great game and not just one of my favorite games, but a game that forever changed the gaming industry. Its influence is apparent in many games made today. And while Nintendo Switch Sports was a good effort by Nintendo to recapture some of that magic, I believe that Wii Sports will always have it beat. Wii Sports just has this lasting appeal due to how well the motion controls were implemented in the game and how accessible all 5 sports still are. And now I would love to hear your Wii Sports story. Did you play Wii Sports as a kid? Or do you still play it as an adult? Which sports are your favorites and why? Let me know. And as always, until next time, thank you so much for watching.